This week, I'm showing you guys how to push for advantage and win more games. All right, what's up guys? It's Garrett with Talking Cards, and this week I wanted to show you guys a video on how to push for advantage. And when I say push for advantage, I mean you're either fighting for hand, trying to win the hand battle, trying to fight for board, win the battle of the board, or maybe you're trying to push your advantage by attacking at shields and win that battle. All of these things are all happening at the same time, and depending on where you are in the game state depends where you should be fighting for advantage. Maybe it's board is where you can kind of turn the corner. Maybe it's just hand advantage. You know, if you can kind of outlast what your opponent's doing, you have so many more cards in hand that you can just turn the corner and kind of push them out of the game. Or you're an aggressive deck and you've taken 5 shields so fast that now they just have to answer you every turn. All of these are ways to fight for advantage, and each one can give you a different outcome. And I'm going to show you guys through a gameplay clip that I used last night in my Metafy class that seemed to work really well to try to teach you guys how to fight for advantage and which one's right at certain times. So let's get into it. All right guys, so when we're watching this gameplay, we're gonna really be thinking about how we push for advantage based on what we're doing. We can battle for board, we can battle for the hand, and we can battle for shields. These are the 3 areas of the game that we're trying to find an advantage in over our opponent. And how we fight for that is different. Maybe our opponent dumps their hand first and we have the answer for that, while we are able to keep more cards in hand and gain advantage. For this example, I used green-blue because I think it's a very fundamentally sound deck and is good for showing these kind of things. And I also make a misplay during this video that I want to highlight because I could have sequenced better. And it's a very small thing, and I still win the game, but it matters. It really does, especially at the highest levels. And it's easy to make these mistakes when you're testing sometimes because you're thinking about other things, or the sim just does so much for you and it's a lot of automated stuff so that you can get complacent. That's why I always recommend testing in person, but it's still a good example to highlight a misplay that I made. And we'll just get started with the video here. So here you can take a look at the deck list. It's nothing special, it's just green-blue things. And usually green-blue things are pretty good. We'll see my hand here. I keep this because I am going first. And because I'm going first and I see that I have 2 level 2s, cost 1s, I know that I have the best turn 2 play I can make in dropping both of these cards, and one of them being a Zaku 2. At that can become a 3 hitter to remove base is really good. So, and already we can see what's going down. They're gonna swing at the base with their gem. And the result, I could trade here, I could attack shields. Instead, because I have the Amuro and I can kind of respond to certain things next turn, I just pass. I leave everything up, and I kind of wanna see what they wanna do here. I know I have the Amuro and I know I have the base, so at one point, I'm gonna make them have to put a pilot on one of these cards, that's another card out of hand, in order to remove my base. And right now, to me, they would be a blue-red player, right? Or they could be purple-blue. And we see the Fatal Strike come down, so we get our answer, it's purple-blue. These are the things to think about when you're playing. So now that I know it's purple, I can kind of map out what they can do on certain turns. And I think that's important as well, because then you know, like, oh, they have 2 resources left. What could they be holding up for, you know? Or does that mean that they have too big of units that they can't utilize? So we left everything up and they're attacking at us now. And we draw another Amuro for the turn. So we can really start to control and dictate this game. We're just gonna take all these units though into shields because we wanna respond. We still are an aggressive deck and we have to be at an area of where the win is almost always in reach. So we'll be down to 4 shields now. We can play this base that is not gonna be easy for them to remove. They will have to play a pilot somehow to remove it. Whether that's with a link or whether that's a pilot on the Resel here. And getting this tall geese down is just a big unit that I know they'll have to trade into or ping. So you see they ping the Zaku 2. We lose that unit, that's fine. If they want to use my pingers on the Zaku 2, so be it. And then we'll see if they pilot the Resel. Yep, they do. So that was the exact play we thought they could make. But now notice they only have a 2-card hand. So now we are up on card advantage. So let's see what they can do. They can only really remove this base and just get 1 attack into shields. So they're not even getting like that much more advantage on us because it's our 3 shields to their 4. So here we go. We'll start our turn. We can swing a couple things here. We should Amuro onto the Charged Zaku 2, rest the gun tank, swing into the gun tank so that we have 2 HP left so that it's harder for ping. And with 2 cards in hand, they probably won't be able to ping to remove it, so they'll have to give us a trade. We can take this gym into their gym, remove that. Yep. And that's just the way it goes. And we can also play our Charged Zaku 2 with the Char, swing into this Rezel, and once we make that trade, we will still be up on board because we will create the token. So we'll still have 2 units to their 1 after making that trade. And then we'll still have 1 resource left to play that gym. So in a small exchange right here, we have just won the battle for the board and the battle for the hand, because when we end our turn, we're up 1 card. Of course, when they start their turn, we'll be equal. And that's where we are right now. That's where we find ourselves. So this Anksha could just attack shields because he has to find his win con too, or her. And we've done a good job so far into navigating this game into how we wanted to push for advantage. We didn't send all at face. We didn't send it all. We're controlling this game by doing a little bit of everything and shifting at times. We started this game attacking all at shields, and then we kind of switched. We drew a second Amuro. That kind of changed things, right? Because now we know we can just rest things. Like right now, we can make this trade into the Anksha with our Charged Zaku 2, and we should get a card off of that, right? But unfortunately, we are not fortunate people, and we whiff nothing. So all blue cards. And now we can Amuro this gym, take out the Rezel. They have no board and they have no units. And then we get to play down a Charged Zaku 2, the Searcher 1, and then a Rick Dom. So we should be ahead. Now we know they have 2 resources up, so they either had a big unit they couldn't play, a Fatal Strike, or in with Iron and Blood, something of that nature. And it looks like it could have been a Fatal Strike. They of course could have top decked it. They do have 4 resources left. So my guess is they have it with Iron and Blood because they're not playing a unit down. And we're just gonna attack at shields. But it's good to look at your opponent's resources and what it means that could be in their hand. Like he ended that 1 turn with 4 resources up. So that tells me that they probably don't have any units, or because I don't know what that deck could play that would not be able to be played that turn, right? And then they also probably have nothing that can like impact the game. I mean, they would have played a base, they would have played anything like that. So my guess it's an action like with Iron and Blood. But let's see here. We drew Corsica for the turn, and this is where I make a small misplay. You see these 3 Charged Zakus on board. They're gonna swing into Corsica and then into shields every single time. And I should have done that first. However, I was so happy to top deck this base, I just slammed it down. And that's probably something I would have only done in testing or on sim, because you are in a more lax environment where like if I'm at regionals, I hope to not make that mistake. Usually I'm more locked in. But it goes to show you that like small little sequencing things can matter. And in this case, it cost me a unit because I know I'm playing against blue-purple. And they have already shown me that they have Fatal Strike. Fatal Strike has a burst that when it's hit into shields that you can ping 1 damage somewhere. So unfortunately, I'm gonna lose one of my units that came off of this Corsica, and I didn't have to. And that's essentially what it boils down to, is that I'm losing something that I didn't have to lose. However, we really pushed advantage this turn. Our board is immense compared to theirs, and they only have a 2-card hand when we pass in a Rezel. One shield left. I mean, this game is ours. They play the pilot, and then they have 2 cards in hand, and we'll see what it is. 1 card they've been on for sure. Look, 2 with Iron and Bloods. So, I mean, that's how resources can dictate what's in hand and show you guys that. And then we're just gonna swing out, or they'll forfeit here. Yeah, they forfeited. But I think that's a good example to show you guys how you fight for board, how you fight for hand, how you play certain things differently, right? You got to know what your deck is. We are an aggro deck, but based on our hand, we saw 2 Amuros, we saw Rick Dom, we saw cards to where we can still get advantage. Like the Charged Zaku 2 trade into the Rezel, where we create the token off of that, that was big. We've already seen our opponent use 2 pingers. Of course, they could ping it easily. That's fine, but it's another card out of hand and to remove that token. And I didn't have to do anything special to create it. It was a trade I wanted to make, a trade that was advantageous to make, and I was able to expand my board and push that advantage. And to a point to where we pushed our advantage as far as we could with our hand size, to that once we emptied our hand onto the board, there was no point for them to come back from that game. So it's little things like that in how you fight for board, how you fight for hand advantage, and how you fight for shields. You know, we started out attacking shields and then shifted. And there's a time and place to do all those things. And I just wanted to show you guys how to navigate that a little bit and a little bit of that mapping. And then my sequencing mistake. I think it's good to be aware when you're testing of mistakes you've made and try to improve from them. So I hope that helped you guys. I know my class that I did yesterday, really enjoyed it. And if you guys want to check out that Meatify class, it is in the description below. And it features a lot of examples like this and a lot of dialogue about, you know, how to advance game state to a place where you just win the game. So hopefully things like this and these videos I'm making really help you guys create more win opportunities for yourself. You know, as I like to say, find your win con. Hopefully these videos show you how to find your win con and win more games. So if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe as always. And thank you guys for supporting the channel. It really means a lot. Later.